My boy's wicked smart.
Deep dive into this for some reason. I don't know why. Um, but I was looking into this, but I didn't realize that teachers were being outsourced.
You
And
said that.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, right. I didn't even think about it. So a lot of these teachers are being outsourced from the Philippines. Um, so this is actually it's kind of crazy. Um, uh, and it's happening to a lot of small, I guess, states.
Mm-hmm.
Because what's happening is a lot of these generations, the newer generation, they want to leave those states. So there's no teachers that are staying, and now there's a lot of open positions, and a lot of it I'm seeing is Montana. A lot of them are seen as Montana. Some of them are in Arizona, Chicago, here and there. But so it's a crazy program that what is it? It's called Visa One, I believe. Let me see, what is that? Do you see it here? Yeah. So, I'm sorry. No, it's called J1 Visa. Sorry.
Okay.
So it's called J1 Visa. It's been going on for quite some time in the Philippines. So what they do is that they train these teachers. So obviously in the Philippines, it's their native language and English, which I didn't know that. I actually really. That's how ignorant I am. But it actually, the Philippines, they actually teach their education system in a sense. I guess it's very similar to ours. So that's why it's an easy transition.
Okay.
To a lot of these teachers. So a lot of these teachers have to have, I
I
believe, a master's.
I believe that English is taught in a lot of countries.
So check this out. So Japan and I think China, they actually go to school in the Philippines for college to learn English because it's cheaper in the Philippines. So that's how they all learn English and stuff like that. So I thought it was pretty crazy, that these teachers are going to the Philippines. So a lot of these teachers, um, they were making about 400 to about 4,000 a year in the Philippines.
So from my article that I read, it was like 300 to 400 a week or month.
They were making about 200, I think, a month. The reason why I know that, because there's certain people that are in the nursing field where I'm at. They're Filipino, and they've only been in this country for like 2 years. And like, yeah, I was like, we were making like $200 a month, and I'm like, really? Because I told them
but
this
you
whole
have
like,
to put everything in perspective of what the cost of living.
right. That's the.
Because I know that goes into, which you'll touch on in a minute, like different salaries in different states.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have to take a look at the standard of living.
Right, and that was my other thing that I brought up too as well, is that that I was gonna look at, that I looked into, is that so these teachers are making 200 to 4,000 a year in the Philippines. They're coming to the country and they're about to make 50 to 60,000 a year, right? But the cost of living increases. And actually, one on some of those articles that I pulled up, is that it ranks them by the cost of living in those areas. I think Louisiana is like ranked number one for teachers. But because the cost of living is very cheap. But I think the starting wage in Louisville is Louisiana is I think 42,000 or something, or 50,000, but the cost of living is pretty low. So I thought it was interesting though how they were doing that. But
so from this website you brought up, to me it looks like it's ranking it based on like what teachers make compared to other jobs and the average salary. So like in Louisiana, teachers are only 5% off of the average salary with other jobs.
yeah.
So they're just saying they're not basically underpaid for that area.
Right. Well, that's yeah, because obviously it's gonna take a factor of cost of living there. But yeah, no, I just thought and we're gonna touch a little more on it too as well. Just that how teachers are actually being treated and how teachers are actually being really, really low paid. And it's crazy. When I took this deep dive in there, because it really just started with me looking into the outsourcing of teachers from the Philippines. That's where it started from. But then I did a deeper dive, and I was looking at it that 1 in 5 teachers have a second job.
I don't know if I believe that.
Dude, I pulled up the article and everything. A lot of them have second jobs, you know? And obviously it depends on the areas, but a lot of teachers have second jobs because they're underpaid. And remember, a lot of teachers are paying out of their pocket for some of the supplies. You know, I was reading something that it was saying
that from doing tax returns, many of them do a lot out of their pockets.
Yeah, and it was crazy that, like, how are they, like, why are they pulling money out of their pocket? Like, so I think was it in I think Chicago, they were trying to tax free to up to $500 a year for teachers. So it was like a budget, but they were going to be tax free at the end of the year for $500. I think right now it's like at 100.
No, so you could take $250 off the top of your taxes.
Oh, can you?
For a teacher for supplies.
Yeah, but $250, that's not enough.
Oh, absolutely.
But regardless, is why is that? And that's my frustration.
Why are they buying stuff out of their own pocket?
Why are they buying stuff out of their own pocket? Like, why isn't the school district providing the teachers with these items? You know, because to me it just worries me some, because obviously having, you know, a little one that eventually is going to go into.
Here's the thing, though, like. And it's a poor example, but the only way I can relate it to you is, like, you buy out of your pocket meals for your employees.
Well, I'm just being ridiculous. I can actually code it to something else, but I just choose not to because of the pain in the ass. I actually have a budget for that.
They actually could probably get stuff through school and order stuff through school. I'm not downgrading teachers at all on this, because I know they go above and beyond with buying for their classrooms. But I think it's some of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and they were saying, like, it was funny because administrators from the certain areas were saying, well, they can be reimbursed. They can a lot of teachers can be reimbursed. But dude, I know you guys make them jump through hoops to try to be reimbursed.
A lot of people are just lazy.
No, I get that.
Tons of jobs reimbursed.
I know, but I feel like certain people or certain companies make it really hard for people to get reimbursed. That's what I'm saying.
Usually, you just have to turn in your receipt.
All right, whatever. Easier said than done, and stuff like. Cause yeah. Anyways, but yeah, no, cause it was just like yeah,
So looking at this one, it looks like, you know, average teacher starts in the 40s, gets to the 60s, tops out at the 90s. You know, not tops out, but, you know, like 50 to 60 to 80 to, you know, 100. You don't think that's a fair scale?
For what they have to deal with? No. I don't think it's a fair scale at all.
What do you think a teacher should be getting paid?
Starting off, I think more than 40 or 50. You know, I think starting at least should be 6. So this is my argument. This is why I think teachers should get paid a lot more. Because our kids are, so when they're young, their minds need to be developed, obviously, right? It's really that's where we need to just spend more time, because that's where they're more impressionable, I guess you can say. So they're gonna absorb a little more, you know, but they need the right resources. If you don't give a teacher a right resource, or you don't give an educator the right resources, how are they supposed to teach a kid? So how is it when this kid gets to a high school level, when you're trying to teach them at a 9th grade level, but this kid's at a 4th grade level, this kid's already way behind, but because we want to look good on paper and say, we're going to push them along because we look good on paper, so we can get more funding or in different ways. You know, I don't think that's okay, because what that leads to is that leads to this kid that has in a 4th grade level, it's going to just push them all through high school that can't really read, write, whatever. What is that going to lead to that kid to? What are his options after high school? And especially if he doesn't have a great foundation at home. Mm-hmm. So how is this?
But what's his alternative? Staying in the 4th grade?
No, is what I'm trying to say is that that's why the teachers need more assistance on helping.
So you're arguing a different point now. You've stepped away from what they're getting paid to now they need more help in the classroom. That's a whole other argument.
Hold on. Because what I'm saying is, if they're gonna, a lot of things is it happens. I think is that when you're not getting paid what you're. I think your wage helps you be motivated in a sense.
Okay, take a step back though. what makes, and again, I love all my teachers, so this is not anything on teachers, but it is talking
Mhm.
through the process. What makes, they just passed their exams, they're fresh out of college, they can become a teacher. What makes them any different than the accountant who just passed their CPA exam, who's fresh out of college? They're the same equivalent.
Not necessarily.
What makes them
It
be
makes it
like
different
they should be at
because their
80,000?
responsibility are actually teaching young minds. They're trying to lead, these kids into a better
But they
understanding.
have no their qualifications aren't any different than the next person.
I know, but what I'm, it you, I
You're
think it's
saying that they need to get paid more so they care more about their job. A lot of teachers go
not
into
not
job for
necessarily
the
not.
rewarding.
No, I
They
get
want to
that,
be there.
but it does help because of how much they have to put into it, in the way that they're trying to get supplies, they're trying to get this and this, and they're paying out of their pocket. So at some kind of way, they have to still make a living. They have to provide for their classrooms because in certain areas they're not be provided for the right supplies. So if they're going to pay out of their pocket, eventually it has to balance out, right? Is That's what I'm saying, is that at least give them that. But if you're not going to give them the salary, you're not going to give them that, then give them the help. Add another teacher to the classroom. you know Two teachers are going to help out a great deal, a lot more
So
than one teacher,
I
because they're
do
going to be classes are going to be
I do
overpopulated.
agree that one, I'm not arguing that teachers need to be paid less. I'm just trying to
You
prove
mean
that
more?
no, I'm teachers deserve fair wages,
Mhm.
good wages. Although I'm arguing against you, I'm just trying to prove the point.
Yeah,
Of both.
you're being devil's
Yeah,
advocate
I'm
right
not
now.
trying to say any teachers
Yeah.
should be being paid less. I'm just saying that to me, looking at it, it gradually goes up like it would in any career.
Mhm.
When I stepped out of college, I wasn't making 100,000.
No, I get that, but this is, to me, they're two different jobs. That's like me comparing my job to your job. We do two different things. I make fun of you all the time and say you're not doing anything. All you're doing is sitting down all day.
I'm just using an
I
accountant
know.
as an example.
I know. I get that, but it's you can't compare them
Okay.
two. That's what I'm saying.
What do you want to compare it to?
I don't know, but you can't compare it to that. Just because it's such a sensitive. It's not sensitive, but it's hard because you're trying to really help the youth in a sense. And I think that a lot of the things that we're having, issues in the world is because we're not teaching these young kids what they need to be taught. They're not educated.
But
Because I don't think we have the resources to educate these kids,
I
and I
also
think it all
think that
starts
comes
with.
from home, though.
I,
That's
okay, and that
everything's not.
yes,
You're not going to get everything in the classroom.
but right, that's not going to happen. But at least we can start some kind of base that kids are going to want to come to school. They're going to want to. They're going to be more enjoyable because what ends up happening, and I think this happens a lot, is that, and I was one of those kids that, remember we talked about this before, that when you're in a room full of a bunch of kids, you're afraid to go ask for that question because you don't want to sound stupid.
But
But
how does that have to do anything with what teachers make?
that's the whole thing. It does because it helps them, at least, like I said, it helps them at least provide more items to the classroom. Is what
See,
I'm trying to say.
I can agree with you that I think that's a separate issue. I don't think the teacher's wage, because you're going to have that teacher who doesn't care. So you're going to give that teacher, oh, you walk in the door, you get 100,000, but they're not going to spend that on their classroom. Not every teacher spends it on their classroom. Good teachers spend it on their classrooms.
Right. Well, it's the same thing.
So I think the answer to that, though, is schools providing what they actually should.
Yeah, but that's not the case though. Schools are not doing that. That's why a lot of teachers are pulling out of their own pocket to help the students be more into the class. Is what I'm saying. So there has to be some kind of. If you're making 40,000 a year as a teacher starting off, and you're buying stuff out of your own pocket, you're barely probably making ends meet at home because you gotta, especially in California.
Well, that's why you have your second job.
Well, yeah, well, that's what I'm saying though. It's like, how's that fair? How is that even? And it does help because there's more things behind it, because that teacher can barely make ends meet and stuff. It's gonna affect her job. She's not going to be fully there and trying to educate these kids. Now she's stressed about this, and now you got an angry teacher that's trying to teach your kids and say, no, no, cool, whatever, just figure it out.
I don't think teachers go into teaching for the money. I
They,
think
they
teachers
don't.
go
Nobody,
into
no,
teaching.
hold on. First of all, nobody ever, a lot of people that really go into the career that they really, really enjoy don't start off by going it because of the money. But after when you feel like you figure out I got bills, I got the responsibility, I got this, I got that, you got to be realistic. Is that eventually it's going to affect you. If that was the case, hold on. If that was the case, if people were doing things not for the money, why don't you do it for free then? Right?
Well, that's the people who are making 40,000 are doing it for like free.
That's what I'm saying. But that's my argument, is that it helps because when they don't have to stress about this anymore. They can focus over here. Okay? But it creates another argument, another fight when I'm not making the right wage. Now I can't provide for myself, my family, this and this, and I can't even provide for these kids. I'm trying to do everything I can in my power to give these kids the right education, but I'm fighting this all day long. It doesn't make any sense. Their main focus should be educating these kids, but they can't do their job if these things are not being taken care of on the backside, is what I'm trying to explain. That's why I think that some of these educators should get paid a lot more, which I know we pulled it up, and some of these educators are getting paid pretty well. But
that's the point I'm trying to tell you. Like, fresh out of college, you're not going to be a kick-ass teacher, most likely. You're learning the trade just like that third grader,
I mean, they're going to burn the trash can?
So, but that's why I'm comparing it. Just like another job, you're working out the kinks. So as time goes on, you get those raises. Right. I'm 10 years out of college. So what? Class of 2007 is, 9 years out of college, roughly. Those teachers that we've pulled up, they're all making 80, 90, 100, they're all making good wages. The second part of being a teacher, you retire with a pension and you have great benefits. Mm-hmm. There are plenty of jobs that people make decent wages, but they also don't have benefits. They don't have retirement.
Okay. So what about the teachers that are quitting after a couple years, after 7, 8 years? 'Cause that's happened because they're not getting the support at all. There's been teachers that literally will leave education system because they're not getting the support that they need. They've already put into the pension, they put on this and this, but they just can't do it anymore. That's why I pulled up this whole outsource thing.
But support is not always money. Support is the backing, your principal, your
right. So
your supplies.
So then let's take away the wage out of this. Okay. So the support that they're not getting that great support. So what would you like them to do? What helps them in a sense? I think if you make a better wage starting off, or in a decent wage starting off, then
you just said take the wage out of it.
Well, I know, I get that, but is what I'm saying is that obviously the education board is not helping them, right?
But your education board is who's making the money. Your superintendents, your
dude, trust me, I think they're making way too much money.
They're the ones that are making the money.
Yeah, they're making way too much money for what they're doing and stuff like that. They're not solving any issues and stuff like that. All they're trying to do is trying to look good on paper, and it's affecting all these kids. And I think that's where I think that's why I went to this hole and stuff like that, because it upsets me, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, dude, there's these kids out here that are 4th grade level, and then they can't even. It's just frustrating because it just hurts us in the long run, as a country, and it just shows that we don't take education serious in America, I feel. I think that's a big factor why other countries they learn English very quick. That they use English as a second language. We use it as what? Oh, so I can apply to college, and I'm just gonna, because what, you took Spanish too, and how much Spanish do you know? Yeah, exactly. So we just use it as an elective. Yeah, we use it as an elective just to we use it. It's ridiculous. I think sometimes it might be harsh, but I think our education system is a joke.
This is where, if you have such an opinion, this is where you as a parent would need to join PTA, would need to get on the school board. Like, this is where
but I don't want to be that Karen. I don't want to be Karen. That's all I'm saying. Mandy's Karen. You're such a Karen.
That's so mean.
Being a Karen. I don't know. Honestly, it just upset me. Just very much.
But I'm
so,
telling
yeah.
you, if you're so
No, I
upset
know.
about
I
this,
know.
you need to be proactive about it.
Yeah.
This is where you go and you make a change as a person who has no wage limit in this part. Like, you have your separate job. See, this isn't all on teachers. This is on everyone.
Yeah.
The education
I think
system,
they need more support, definitely from parents.
There
and,
you
yeah.
go. That's you.
Yeah. No, I know, but I'm only one person, obviously, and stuff like that. So.
But it starts with one.
Yeah.
Because then that one person can get the next.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you have such a passion about this, go do something to change the system.
It just really upset me. That's all. And honestly, and it goes back to seriously a lot of times is that these parents, and I'm hoping a lot of these parents, obviously we talk about, with the quarantine, it's kind of helped them realize that your kid's an asshole.
I think everyone established that.
And I think a lot of, and obviously this is the whole thing that, like, teachers are getting in trouble because they're which you should never put hands on a kid, but it's really hard because they know that you're not going to put hands on them, right? So I think to solve this issue is you start holding the parents accountable. You say, okay, that's fine. I'm not going to put hands on you, but hey, your parent's going to get fined. Or hey, your parent's going to get, if you touch another kid, whatever, and it's never ever going to get done, okay, that's fine. Because you're a minor, you're underage, you're either going to get fined, or guess what? The assault's going to go to your parent. And I think that's going to hold the parent accountable. Obviously, I'm being extreme.
I think that stuff does happen.
It needs to happen more. I think they need to really resolve it.
What kind of kids do you hang out with?
Well, no, I'm just saying because there's, dude,
you got some heated passion about some stuff.
Yeah, I know, right? It's weird.
Are you sure you just don't want to become a teacher?
No, I fucking hate kids. I just like them at a distance. And stuff. I'll just like to coach them. That's it. No, it just honestly, and it goes back to, as a parent, you have a responsibility. And I think some of these parents need to have a license to have a kid, dude. Because it's literally affecting our education system, and it's affecting, I feel like it's affecting our world when we have uneducated kids that grow up and now they're adults. Because we even talked about it that, technically.
But this is where, going back to our original piece, this is where you want your kid to be better. And
right.
We talk about this, with your family all the time, your uncles and your extended, being first generation, you and all your cousins, you take a lot of heat for the life you live right now that, oh, you're better than us. Mm-hmm. But one, if it's true, they should be proud.
No, it doesn't happen in a Mexican family. The worst critic in a Mexican is another Mexican.
But see, that's like, oh my!
I know.
I can't even wrap my head around
No,
that.
Trust me, that's honestly the truth.
Your
worst critic as being a Mexican is another Mexican. Mm-hmm. It just there's something in our DNA or something in their DNA that just says, "Nah, man, I can't be happy for you," but I still love you. But no, I get it.
But this just goes back to the original, you want your kid to be better than you, or you want your kid to be the best.
Well, yeah, and some people should literally need a license to have a kid, because it sucks, dude, because it affects, because what ends up happening, it affects other people, it affects other kids, we can do, and we even talked about this, you can raise your daughter to be, a great person and have the right morals, but she needs that one dude to screw her up and stuff like that, and then she's screwed after that. But it's going to be that shitty parent that never told her.
As I said earlier tonight, dodge that bullet.
Did you? But, it takes that one shitty parent that didn't raise their kid with any morals to ruin it for everybody else, Do
you ever think, though, good parent or not, that person that, nature versus nurture?
Yes.
That human being was just going to be shitty.
Mm-hmm. I think I was watching something or with a different I think I forgot what serial killer, what mass shooter it was, but the dad was like, I knew there was something weird about my kid. I knew there's something weird about my kid or something off about him and stuff like that. But yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I come across these people and I'm like, damn, you're good. I mean, and maybe I just don't know them in depth,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm always like, oh, like, you're a good person. Like, you seem good. And then, like, I hear about, like, a shitty kid they have.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, damn, like, were you a shitty parent or was your kid just a shitty person?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think everybody has a different method of raising their kid. I'm very
My
much...
mind's blown right now. Because
Why?
you know what it kind of goes back to? Like, destiny. I think it goes back to your destiny. And, like, to me, this is where, free will, like, your parents could have done everything right, but you chose the wrong path.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, everything coming full circle right now in my head.
Yeah. Well, I think your destiny's still going to lead you into the same
No,
path.
it's not.
I'm telling you, you can't control it.
Yes, you can.
You cannot control your destiny.
That's why we're given free will.
No, free will is a made-up thing. It's something that...
You can't pick and choose what you want from...
It's something the Catholic Church told you. No, I'm joking. No.
It's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation I'm not going to touch on this, actually. So, yeah, it's... I think it just started making me think just because of Zeke. And, I want him to have, the best education, which obviously it's going to start at home. It does start at home. Teachers need help with that. Because the teachers, it's only one person. They can't do everything on themselves. They need the support from us as parents to help these teachers. And I think they struggle with the kids that are not getting that support. But at the same time, that's where they need that assistance of, hey, what can we do to help you?
Mm-hmm.
With the kids that are struggling, because technically luckily you had teachers that actually take a liking in you in a sense, and but they can't they can't take a liking in every single kid. There's way too many kids. But
they can take a liking, they just can't give that extra attention.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why you need, a second teacher, because if you have a classroom of 36, because you can't find teachers to take, that's the reason why you have a classroom of 36 and not of 18.
No, you have a classroom of 36 because you don't have a budget for 18.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You don't have a budget to pay that, and another teacher you want $100,000. So that's why they can't afford it. So they're gonna just stack it into.
We can spend money on their salary and stuff, but you can't, because they don't want to touch their salary. What is it? The district, but was it the superintendents of that? Like, they don't want to touch your salary because they want to make all that money.
But this also comes down from state and what you're getting from your government agencies.
Yeah, but yeah, I didn't want to get into that one and stuff because how they can actually fund in the right way and take away from other stuff. But we rather fund, jails a little more than education system. But it's just,
that's your problem.
Mm-hmm. And it's ridiculous. Our incarceration rate is ridiculous. Like,
maybe if you funded more into education,
you wouldn't have people as much incarceration.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, but like I said, it just...
You got some passion about all this. Why don't you do something with that passion instead of just be a voice behind a mic?
Because that's all I can do.
It's not all you can do. It's all you choose to do.
Well, if somebody wants to join me, they can. So,
I got no passion for it. I just let the world be how it is.
Yeah, no.
You want to change in the world, you have to be the change.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that's where we talked about it earlier. Like, what's your purpose in life? Like, Zeke is my purpose in life. Or if we have another kid, that would be my purpose in life too, just to make sure that they're worth taking care of. And because we only have so much time in this world to raise our kids. We got to really take every precious moment to raise our kid in the right way.
Just hope my kids aren't assholes.
I'm gonna be an asshole some kind of way.
Nah, look at you.
And stuff. So, but you want to create that path. Obviously, I don't want to put baby gloves on it, but I'm still gonna be tough on him. But at the same time, as you want him to have, I guess, the best choices in the world. And yeah, it would just upset me just because I did look into it. I'm like, dude.
I really take away from this though, like, you have to be the change that you want to see in the world.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you're worried about education and you're worried about funding and you're worried about teacher salaries, get out there, be active about it.
That's hard work. My work really takes a lot of my time, so.
You're just concerned with old people.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, and I just hope it changes down the line, but it's never gonna change. You know.
Same system, different day.
Yeah, pretty much, and I just hope that he has the right teachers around him.
I think a lot of changes.
Or he goes to private school.
That's not happening.
Yeah, no. It's a lot of money.
I'll pay for him to go to college. I won't pay for private school.
No.
I think though that you also get. I like public school because you get the diversity. I don't want to. Well, one, you're Mexican, I'm white. Your kid's already diverse. Like, I'm not trying to give him some kind of privileged life that he thinks he needs, Like, I want him surrounded by all races so he could respect all races, all income levels, I want him to be a well-balanced person, and I think that putting him in public school gives him that.
Yeah.
You see all angles of everything.
Yeah, but at the same, it makes you a better understanding of
reality.
Reality of high and low, and everybody's different. Obviously, if you go to private school, everybody's a little more.
You can be a little more sheltered.
Yeah, and in some kind of way, it's good and bad, But there's even private schools that people, that still have baby goes, but they should have taken those off a long time ago, and then that's a bigger problem down in life, So yeah, it's and it goes back to home. It literally goes back to home too as well.
I think you sheltering your kid can create a whole nother box of issues.
Yeah, definitely, and yeah.
Hey, definitely. We're early on in this game. We got a long road ahead of us.
Oh no, definitely without a doubt. We definitely have an idea of what you want to become as a parent. And I think that's where a lot of new parents have a fold, have an idea of what how they want to parent. Everybody's not going to agree with your method. A lot of people won't agree with my method.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already been, when I told somebody, hey, dude, you're not that good right now, and it's kind of one of those things. I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it in that kind of way. But it's a reality check. It's, what are you doing differently? What makes you different from the other person?
So I have a question. Do you think it's weird if you were a public teacher, so you work in the public field, but then you pay for your kids to go to private school? Do you think that's, ironic?
That is kind of weird, actually. That's like saying, my job is not my job's not good enough, but I don't trust what I'm in. I'm gonna go send you over here. I don't trust what I do.
Isn't it a little off?
Very much so, yeah. I think that's super weird in a sense, because it's like saying that what I do, it's not safe. I need to send you over here. Like, what's the difference and stuff like you're not. It's pretty much saying I don't trust my colleagues to teach you. I got to send them somewhere else. So,
yeah, I thought it was little.
Yeah, but.
To each their own.
Yeah, everybody has a different idea of how they want to.
What's right for them.
Yeah, exactly, and also that's what it comes down to, realistically. It's for them. It's what works for you.
Absolutely.
What works for you and I doesn't work for everybody else. Sometimes my ideas don't work for you.
Most of the time.
And vice versa. So, some people are a little more not outspoken. So they do things a little differently. And it's all very just different.
I would say these are the good parts of being in America and being able to choose what you want.
Yes, that's very true. Because there's a lot of people that don't get the opportunity to choose. We have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like, that's how many opportunities we have to realistically to choose. And obviously, yeah, and it just sucks though, because honestly, there's a lot of these kids that don't get these opportunities because, I'm sorry to say, you have shitty parents, and I'm sorry. And that's why I love our youth program for football, is because, and not to say that anybody has any bad parents of that, but it's nice to, I think these kids enjoy being around these male figures in some kind of way that are positive role models.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying I'm I'm a role model or anything like that, but the guys that I'm around, I would, I would leave Zeke with them. You know, it's kind of one of those things. You know, leave
I don't leave with Zeke with anyone.
What about Manning?
Like I said, I don't leave Zeke with anyone.
No, but you know,
Just kidding.
it's one of those things like, you know, these are all just good people.
Yeah.
You know, and
they're out there for the kids.
yeah, they're out there for the kids, and you can truly see the passion. Like, dude, we're in group messages all day long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, constantly talking about what can we, and obviously we're talking about football too, but it's like, hey, we talk about a kid and like, hey, what can we do with this kid? What can we do with that kid? You know, where can we put him? You know, so he can succeed, or you know, where can he develop a little quicker? You know, things of that sort. So it's nice to be, and I think even youth sports is a good way for kids to build up. And I think football, any kind of sport, is a really good way. But I truly think football, because like people always think it's like football develops character, but no, it reveals it. You know, and that was always stuck in my head because it does. You know, like when you're sitting there getting yelled at, you really have to take it in. You know, it's not like
I would cry hearing you guys watching like Little Tykes, like, and them yell at those kids.
Yeah,
we don't cry.
We don't go to that extreme and stuff
like I want to cry for the kids watching that.
Yeah, we don't really go that extreme and stuff like that. So, but
I would be that kid that's like crying, and they're like, "Stop crying," and I'd be like once I going, you can't stop, kind of thing.
Yeah, but honestly, it's kind of where those mentalities that like, not that you tear them down, but you kind of let them know what they did wrong, and then you build them right back up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to understand that, hey, man, you got another play, and it has happened, and even during one of our playoff games, stuff like, you know, kid messed up, and we got on him. You know, let him have his moment. Came back to him, say, hey, it's gonna happen, but guess what? In football, there's another play, man.
Mm-hmm.
Go make another play. And now he's pissed off enough to say, hey, you know what? I gotta go make it right. I gotta go make a play. You know, they know they did something wrong. You know, not even they did something wrong. It was, hey, I made a mistake. I'm going to go make it better. You know, or I'm going to go make the next play. Or I'm going to motivate myself to do that. You know, regardless of whatever it is, but it creates that motivation in that kid. You know, and even with teachers, you know, I think it would help them. They do that too. You know, they're motivating these kids to be better. You know, so yeah, I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see how it all goes. Maybe I need to go into the system.
I like to say that
I'm voting. Oh no, what is it? I should.
You should vote.
No, not vote. What is it? What's that show we watch with Tim Allen?
Oh, you're gonna run to be a politician?
No, she's not a politician. She was trying to do
the school board, wasn't she?
Yeah, the school board. Yeah.
Neither of us said that correctly.
School board.
School board.
Yeah, you said bird.
Bird. It's a bird. So. Disclaimer, I love my teachers. This conversation was not a diss on anyone.
No.
Or our superintendents.
No.
As much as crap we say about their salaries, you know, they do.
Do you know some superintendents?
Yes.
Oh, do you?
I doubt they'd watch this whatsoever, but...
Yeah. No, it was more for teachers. It was more just, honestly, it was more just... Not shining light. Obviously, they don't need that much, you know, because I think people know.
So I think it's going to be very interesting, especially like with the districts not even having an open date at this point. I mean, I guess it's June 19th last I heard, but it'll be very interesting to see what happens to school and teachers in the fall. You know, one of those statistics said 1 in 5 teachers isn't going to return to school because of COVID-19 and being worried about it. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens in the fall with virtual learning, with smaller classrooms, with staggered school days, like how all this is going to play out.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's going to be one of those things that it's these kids lost what 3 months of school. You know, they lost some quiet time. They lost some good quality time of classroom time. You know, that maybe some kid was about to start picking it up, and you know, and now he didn't pick it up.
Oh, definitely, you're going to see the effects, especially if these kids don't get to school in fall. These are going to be long-term effects, like lifetime effects in our world, our economy, our U.S. You know.
Oh yeah.
because people are going to get pushed forward, and this is where your pushing forward goes. These people, because I mean, last I heard is wherever these kids left their grades when school shut down in March, all the virtual learning was voluntary. So if you had a B, if you had an A, if whatever you had when you left, that was your grade.
That's crazy.
You could do the virtual stuff and go up, but you couldn't get worse. But I mean, I understand the reasoning because not all kids have the same home opportunities. Right. But I think this is definitely where you had a struggling kid and a high selling kid. This gap's going to get wider.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. You're definitely going to see the long-term effect on all these kids, and that's what I'm saying, like the pushing forward, just pushing them through, and and it just shows, and it sucks though, because to really just get pushed through the program and just keep on pushing, getting pushed, but really not learning anything. You're not really understanding what you're learning.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because I've always struggled with learning and stuff, and that's where it upsets me the most. And I'm like, dude, like, spend some more time with kids in a sense, not even more time. It's just, what's a better method? What's a better way to...
To me, the takeaway from this teacher conversation is not the salaries. I don't have a problem with the salaries. To me, it would be smaller classes and better tools.
Yep.
That would be my takeaway. Because if teachers had smaller classrooms, and this is kind of like what private school does give you, most of those classrooms are smaller. Yeah. But if they had smaller classrooms, then they could give more attention to those students.
It just popped in my head right now. So me growing up, so obviously we talked about this before, 2 different households, right? You growing up, your parents really push education, right? Your parents make sure you guys sat down. There was realistically no TV.
So my mom's grandmother went to college. And so that's
where it was really, really hard at that time for
and so
for
that's
women to.
That's the point of how much education is so important to them.
Yeah, and that's why that's what shows is that. So when I went to school, they did whatever they can. Teachers can only do so much, right? So when I went home, it wasn't really, and it was hard because at one point I was more at my grandma's than anything else. And my sister, that 4 years older than me, was trying to teach me something, which she's trying to do her own homework, and I'm trying to do mine, Not to say I had a shitty upbringing, but I wasn't, somebody didn't spend some time with me, And I know I'm justifying everything like that, but and that's the true fact of it, There wasn't nobody at home to spend time with me, and and my sisters give me a hard time. They're boo-hoo you, this and this, but that's the honest truth, though.
But that's not the teacher's problem.
No, exactly. No, that's what I'm explaining. Is that there's 2 different sides and stuff. There's your side and there's my side, and I'm a prime example of that. That's why I struggled with education for so long, and I think that's why it bothers me so much that I got firsthand of that. That I didn't get to spend.
But you're arguing on the teachers. You need to argue about parents being better parents.
I'm not. I'm arguing for the teachers too. So that because
I have a question for you on this. Would you rather one teacher with 40 students who makes 100,000, or would you rather 2 teachers with 20 students each who make 50,000 each?
This is twofold though. It's kind of hard. Definitely probably the 2 teachers with the 50,000.
That's what I mean. Riverside, Harupa, Alvord this past year just did a whole bunch of buyouts. Got teachers who are way up there that are close to retiring. Gave them this great package deal to hit the road so they can retire and pay them out for a few years and get some fresh blood in there, basically, who would be cheaper wages at the start.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's good, at least to kind of split the classes, but eventually when you give a little, they take more, you know. So let's see how that goes in a sense, So they're going to say, "Well, we can start, the problem with that when you start paying teachers cheap, they start looking for not the great quality of education in a sense.
No, see, but this is where the ratcheting up goes.
Mm-hmm.
You just got rid of that.
So you're saying, hey, all right, cool. Here's your program. We're gonna go ahead and start you this wage, but in 5 years you're gonna make this.
Yeah.
And okay, and that's fine. And that's all.
That was what I was arguing. So a first year teacher makes 45,000.
Right.
You're fresh off the grill. You're learning as you go, anyways. By 10 years in, you're up to 80,000, and then another 10, you're up to 100.
That's all great.
You're scaling up like you should.
Right. That's great. But they still need that support system,
That's a completely different issue.
No, and I get that, but they still need that support system. Either pay them more or give them the support system. Which one do you want to give them?
I think it's the support system.
Yeah.
Because I think even if they were paid more, they still need the support.
Yeah.
So the wages isn't going to fix it.
Right. And stuff.
It just makes it nicer to deal with.
Yeah, because, you got less headaches and stuff like that, so.
No, you still have the headaches. You just have nicer money to cushion
yeah,
it.
money makes it a lot easier.
Doesn't it make everything?
Yeah, so, but, yeah, no, and like, it's, it's a team effort, so. I just think I think a lot of parents need to step up and really help out teachers as much as they can, and not just blame the damn teacher for, oh, my kid's this, or my kid would never do that.
Nope, your kid is an asshole. And if you don't think your kid's an asshole, your kid is the asshole.
Yeah, exactly. No, my kid would never do that. Really? Because what does a teacher have to gain to call your kid out on things? Nothing.
I've said asshole a lot too.
And stuff, yeah. But, your teacher has nothing to gain to calling out your kid at all. So if your kid's acting out, it's because your kid's probably acting out.
Yeah.
There's a good chance so. But anyways, I think we're good.
Have a good night. Go ask your kid, or go look at him sleeping, see if they're the asshole.